Oh, she got it. We're good. Everyone in? Almost. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year to all. Welcome to 2025, and everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm going to start a roll call starting from my far left. Mr. Scott Ostrin, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. Ms. Laura Newman, Associate Superintendent of Business and Operations. Ms. Dana Schultz, Board Trustee. Dr. William Hender, Board Vice President. Dr. Jordan Cox, Superintendent of Schools. Myself, Steve Hartman, Board President. Ms. Sue Hermer, Board Trustee. Mr. Tim Russo, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. Mr. Gene Bernowski, District Counsel. And Ms. Debbie Berger, District Clerk. With that, I will turn it over to Dr. Cox for the administrative report.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our January 9th Board of Education meeting. Hard to believe it's already 2025. Hope everyone had a happy new year and a happy holiday. We have an abbreviated agenda this evening. We're going to talk a little bit about a recent visit from Regent Tillis, who came to visit Commack High School and also got to visit one of our intermediate schools. And then we're going to have just a few updates, committee updates. So to kick it off, Regent Tillis, so similarly as we have a Board of Education for Commack School District, there is a similar Board of Education for the New York State Education Department, which are called the Regents. Regent Tillis represents our area. He is the longest standing regent for the New York State Education Department. And I had run into him and we were talking a little bit about some of the programs that we were implementing here in our schools. And I asked him if he would be willing to come and visit, and he took us up on it. So he actually started at the high school where he visited, and we spoke a little bit about all the different opportunities that we have for the students at Commack High School. And to take it further, we brought, as you can see in some of these pictures, close to 12 students to share their pathways at Commack High School. So one student represented Commack School District and attends Wilson Tech. He's in the flight aviation program, so he was sharing his experiences through Wilson Tech at BOCES. He's actually going to graduate from Commack High School with a solo pilot's license before he graduates. So he may be able to fly a plane before he can pilot a car, but that's pretty amazing, the hours that they get, the experience that they get. So they spend half the day at BOCES and half the day at Commack High School. We had another student talk a little bit about the internships programs that we have at Commack High School. One student got to experience an internship at Huntington Hospital and shadow a number of different physicians, a number of different departments. They then came into the maternity department and realized that in that instant that she would like to pursue nursing and work in the maternity portion of a hospital in her future, and she knows exactly what she wants to do. Another student spoke about some of the dual enrolled courses that we have at the high school. And it's pretty amazing when this student comes in and said, when I came in 9th grade, 14 years old, I thought to myself, I know I want to go to college, I want to go someplace in the South, but I want to make sure that I am in a good place financially because college is so expensive. My focus is really going to be on trying to take as many college level courses at Commack High School I can take before I graduate. So this student is graduating from Commack High School with 39 college credits, which is pretty outstanding. Not only does the student have 39 credits, but also through that experience and through that coursework realized what they want to do, what they want to pursue in college. And so, you know, you get the best of both worlds. You leave Commack High School with a little bit of financial relief because of the credits that you can obtain. And Regent Tillis asked the question, so 39 credits, can you transfer those, all of them? And it depends on what college or university you pick. Some will take 10, some may take 15. I think he said University of Miami will take up to 50. So depending on what school, this student actually has the ability to possibly transfer 39 credits from Commack High School. And so definitely an amazing experience. Another student spoke a little bit about their experience in our IB career-related program. They're in the health sciences program. Realized that, that medicine is something that health sciences is something that they want to pursue, but they've been exposed to a number of different professions within that field, and really got to dive into looking at the coursework and looking at engaging or identifying certain ethical situations within their field, and then researching about it and writing about it and coming up with solutions. And so really another valuable experience depending on if you wanted to choose that pathway. We had a student talk a little bit about the IB diploma program pathway, which is one of our most rigorous pathways, and just the experience that they had. And as locked in and specific as the course requirements are for an IB diploma program, the student was still able to engage in some of the things that they love, like science research. So that was another great experience to share with Regent Tillis. And lastly, we had 3 students who have been participating in our Bloomberg lab. They participated in the Bloomberg Challenge. They spoke about how at a younger age they always knew that they wanted to get into something with finance, but they thought it was going to be a pathway like accounting. And they didn't know that there was really an investment piece to finance because they didn't really know a whole lot about it. But this year is the first year that we opened up our Bloomberg lab. The students, when you listen to them talk, you feel like they've been in the Bloomberg lab for years. These 3 students were talking about some of the things that they've learned in terms of how money works in the world, but how to invest, how to create a portfolio, how to plan for retirement. I looked at Regent Tillis and I said, it's not that often that you hear a 17-year-old talk about how they're going to plan for their retirement before they even left high school. But this is something that we really are passionate about here in Commack, is to make sure that when our students graduate, we don't want any one of our students to have any financial issues in the future, and this is a big part of it. These 3 students actually teamed up and participated in the Bloomberg Stock Challenge, which is a global challenge. There were 2,700 teams in the world that participated in this challenge, and this group of students came in 80th place. The first time we've participated in a Bloomberg Challenge, and they had a great showing. So they're really excited. You can see them here in this picture right here. They were in the lab. So after we finished meeting with Regent Tillis, we took them on a tour to see some of the spaces. So we started in the Bloomberg lab. We went into the courtroom, got to see the cafeteria, got to see greenhouse. You got to see a number of different spaces, library. His response when he was here was, wow, Commack is so far ahead. Now, there's been a lot of conversation you've heard about the new Blue Ribbon Commission and looking at graduation measures. And when he was in the finance lab, and we were talking about some of the things and how we have 9th graders in there, talking about some of the things that they're learning. Every senior is getting in there and doing a 2-week research project in there. He said that he's working with the Comptroller's office to try and develop some financial literacy programs for New York State. And he asked while we were there if Commack would be willing to have a seat on that committee and part of that group. So we actually have a full-time financial literacy teacher, Peter Meyer, who's doing an outstanding job. That we shared his name with Regent Tillis, and hopefully they'll take us up on that, and we'll have a seat at the table when the state starts to develop, what financial literacy could look like for the state. And so that was our visit. And then I'm sorry. Last but not least, you can see Regent Tillis sitting down. One of the things that he loves to do is, and he doesn't get to do that often, is read poetry to students. So at the end of the high school visit, we took a trip over to Burr, and he got to read to a third grade class and a 4th grade class. Obviously, his time was limited, but he was able to read some poetry, some Shel Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends, and a number of other poetry items that are some of his favorites. And the students really got a kick out of it, and so he really enjoyed his visit. So hopefully, when he goes back up to the state, Commack will continue to be the buzz up there as a model in what education could look like in the future. But we're really excited, and it was really just a fantastic visit. So to close out our admin report, we're going to move into our committee updates, and we will start with the Legislative Advocacy Committee.
Great.
Mr. Hartman.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. So again, the Legislative Advocacy Committee, they are meeting basically every 2 weeks, again, led by the students. And we have, again, different initiatives this year. We'll be focusing on agricultural education and sustainability, Blue Ribbon Initiatives, Facilities and Infrastructure, School Safety, and Student Wellbeing. Again, they're developing a platform, and the goal is in March, we will be going up to Albany to speak to our state legislators and kind of advocate on behalf of Commack. So we're looking forward to that, and certainly we'll have more updates at the next Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Next up, Technology Committee. I'll ask Ms. Pulliam to just provide a quick update or reminder on where we are.
Good evening, everyone. The Technology Steering Committee is co-chaired by myself and Board Trustee Dana Schultz. Our upcoming meetings are virtual. We do have 3 subcommittees, the Instructional Technology and Innovation Committee. There are a lot of subtopics that we're planning to cover throughout the year. The first subtopic that we are covering is going to have to do with coding programs and some robot and STEM robot things that we're looking into for the primary and intermediate buildings. So that's our first task in that meeting. There is a student information and communication subcommittee. They're going to be looking a lot at Parent Square and some of the items that we're able to leverage through Parent Square for communication. And there is an Infrastructure and Facilities Technology Committee, and that particular committee is going to be exploring different grant options that the district can apply for in order to kind of offset some of the financial obligations that we have for infrastructural upgrades and facilities upgrades throughout the district that have to do with technology. Anyone that is interested in joining these committees that has not currently signed up, you are more than welcome. There are over 60 sitting people on this committee, from community members to teachers, administrators, district employees from all different avenues. We are going to be having a large committee, Technology Steering Committee, gather again after we have some subcommittee meetings in March, where then we will be able to report out, basically each small committee's findings. So again, I'm always happy to hear from the community. If anybody would like to be a part of these committees, please reach out to me and I could add you to any of the 3.
Thank you, Ms. Pulliam. And lastly, Mr. Russo is going to provide an update on our Multicultural Committee.
Sure. So as we mentioned last month, our students are hard at work finalizing the logistics and the details of our Multicultural Festival that will take place on April 5th. Really right now kind of working on what the final plans will look like for that. And then shortly we'll be sending out a request for some support from community members, parents, and things like that to make it the success it has been over the last couple of years. So we're looking forward to that day as well, and really proud of the work the students have done as they've taken on such a large role the last couple of years.
Thank you, Mr. Russo. Just a quick update. In February, our State of the District admin report will be on elementary. And that concludes our administrative report. Back to you, Mr. Hartman.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. At this time, I will turn over to Dr. Hender to read the Board of Education statement.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Our board meeting has 2 opportunities for public comment, one where the public can comment on specific agenda items only, and one at the end of the meeting where the public can comment on other school district matters. Please take a white card if you have a question on specific agenda items, and a green card if you have comments during public participation on other school matters. Comments must be no longer than 3 minutes. The district clerk will call each person up by a number. We are monitoring the time and will let speakers know when their time is completed. When called up to the microphone, please state your name and whether you are a district resident. Please only speak to the board directly. The board appreciates the community's feedback. These commentary periods are not times for public debate or for answering specific questions where a direct answer cannot be provided. We will make a note of any questions where the answer is not known and provide a response as soon as possible to the person asking the question. Public comment does not allow for positive or negative statements about a specific employee as it relates to his or her job performance. Any matters related to specific students will not be discussed. The president shall terminate the right of any speaker if they are overly lengthy, repetitive, disruptive, disrespectful to anyone, and/or offensive, as well as if the public becomes unruly and lacks respect for others. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Henders. I will turn it over to the district clerk. They'd be very good to start calling up people that may have comments on specific agenda items only.
Okay, that would be the white card. If anyone has a white card, number 1. Those are for agenda items only.
Okay. Thank you very much. Since we had a very short break between the 2 meetings, there were no official correspondences to acknowledge since the last meeting. So moving on to donations, can I get a motion to adopt the following donations from the Commack High School Wrestling Booster Club for equipment for the varsity and JV varsity teams at the Commack High School? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second? Second. Any discussions? Again, on behalf of the board and the whole district, we'd like to thank the Booster Club for this generous donation. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the December 19th, 2024 Board of Education meeting? Motion. First, Ms. Hermers, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve the personnel agenda? Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve consent agenda items as presented and/or amended items 2 through 14? Can I get a motion? Motion. First, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Okay, items removed from consent agenda. Item number 1, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the contract agreement between the Commack Union Free School District and the Commack Security Guards Association and have the board president sign the same. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Second agreement, be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the contract agreement between the Commack Union Free School District and the Commack Administrator and Supervisory Association contract and have the board president sign the same. Can I get a motion? Motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. There are no new business items, so I will move on to board business items. I'm going to acknowledge the statement of professional services rendered by Barnes, Trunick and King for the month ending November 30th, 2024. I'm going to acknowledge receipt of the November 2023 financial reports as listed below, A through I. I'm going to acknowledge receipt of the internal claim orders monthly update. I'm going to acknowledge receipt of the Committee on Special Education dates as listed, as well as to acknowledge the receipt of the Committee on Preschool Special Education dates as listed. The Board of Education in the Commack Union Free School District shall hold its regular meeting on Thursday, February 13th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at the Hubs Administration Building, 480 Clay Pitts Road, East Northport, New York. It is anticipated the board will make a motion for the purposes of adjourning into executive session at this time, and at 8 p.m. the board will reconvene into the public session for the purpose of holding its regular meeting. With that, I will turn it over back to the district clerk for any other district matters.
Those would be the green cards. If anyone has a green card, that would be green card number 1.
Okay.
No comments?
Okay. With that, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion.
First, Dana, second was Dr. Hender. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Stay warm tonight, and we'll see you all in February.